Hey friends, Lucian here with the Bullish Bears team. This video is going to be about how to map out pre-market support and resistance levels for day trading. So when you're getting ready for market open, you're building your watch list and you're seeing what's running in the pre-market, it's important to map out those intraday support and resistance levels in the pre-market. Then going back, the past few days, seeing what's been happening, and then look at those daily, weekly, monthly charts and just kind of get those bigger overall support and resistance levels, because again, when you're trading momentum, you want to see those stocks go rip, move up, and then you want to see where those support and resistance levels are. Remember, buy low, sell high. If you're new to trading, you don't just randomly buy something. You got to have be prepared, right? Have your list every day, your watch list prepared, scan for those stocks in the pre-market, build your watch list, see if any of those stocks run at open, and then also have a scanner running so that at market open, if something that you're looking at is not running, you can see what actually is running, and then do the same process over with stocks that are running. It's all about support, resistance patterns. Find those peaks, valleys, horizontal support and resistance levels, and those trend lines, and then pick your couple strategies that you prefer to trade. You don't have to trade every single pattern out there. Choose the one or two that you like to trade, and then wait for those setups. If those setups don't happen, don't trade. It's as simple as that. Very simple to say, very difficult to implement when our emotions come into play, right? So that's where you got to weed out the noise of what everybody else is looking at and talking about, and focus and stick to your trading plan. All right, so you'll see I have trade ideas, morning gappers pulled up here. They're our favorite trading scanner to scan the pre-market, and just overall, they're just a really great scanner. So what I typically look at are stocks that have the highest volume and highest gappers on the day. Now, just because something is gapping up in the pre-market doesn't mean it's going to rip at open. It could dump at open, and then something down at the base can come in, can move its way up. So I typically look at those higher volume stocks, and then be aware of the float. The lower the float, under 10 million, super volatile. Under 20 million, very volatile. So low float, the quicker the move up, quicker the move down. Higher the float, slower the movement in the stock. Again, so when a stock moves with a lower float, that's where you might get $1, $2, $3 candlesticks, where something with a high float, maybe you're only getting 20 or 30 cents. Again, kind of giving a generality. Higher float stocks will move bigger as well, but that's kind of what you're, gauging, right? Higher risk, higher reward with those low float stocks. They are incredibly popular to trade. So you'll see traders they're looking for volume, right? Because you need volume, because you need liquidity to be able to get in and out of that stock. So that's where traders are building their watch list, seeing what's running in the pre-market. They're mapping out those support and resistance levels, and then they're looking at open, trading their favorite patterns, and then they choose their trading strategy. You're scalping, looking to get those quick moves, using your account as leverage to get in and out of a stock, right? So if you bought 1,000 shares, a stock runs 10 cents, 1,000 times 10 cents, you made $100. And then if you have a bigger account and you bought 10,000 shares, you made 10 cents, you made $1,000, right? Same 10-cent trade, just somebody else had a bigger brokerage account than you. So that's where, don't get caught up in the illusion of anybody that's making those huge days, $50,000, $20,000 days. It just means they have a bigger brokerage account, right? So you can make the same trade as them if you have a smaller account and you make less money. Don't beat yourself up. You just need more money to make money. All right, so just because something's moving doesn't mean it's going to be a great setup or a great pattern. So we'll just look at a few of these ones right here, and we'll see what the patterns are looking at. So we'll start off with ATRS. It's got 44 million volume. That's a lot of pre-market volume. So I've got ATRS pulled up. Be aware of things like news, breaking news, all that good stuff. So you'll see this had a big rip up over here. And I'm not going to go in depth with news and all that kind of stuff, but you can see TD has a decent, they'll let you know if there's some breaking news over here. Benzinga is a really great tool, but if you look right over here, actually right over here, sorry, I didn't have my chart linked. That's weird. So you'll see right over in here, breaking news, you'll see what pulls up over here. So be aware, kind of gives you a gauge real, over here of what's happening. But overall, you can use other tools like Benzinga. There's some other good free tools that are out there. So what I'm doing right here is I'm mapping out those peaks and valleys, right? So you'll see this one had a huge gap up. And, I'm not a huge fan when things trade sideways like this, so I'll keep an eye on it, see what happens at open. But you'll see it's kind of trading sideways here. It's got some news. Looks like nearing to buy Antares Pharma. So I'll keep an eye on this one. And then now I would go over to a daily chart, and you'll see it's breaking daily resistance. So now I go out to weekly. So I just kind of zoom out. So it's breaking weekly resistance. And then you go to monthly. I had to pause the video and add monthly back onto my chart. Something happened with my TD platform recently. They were doing some updates, so I don't know if they just messed up my time frames. Weird. Yeah, because everything was all linked. And then, anyways, so you'll see right up over here. So it's right at all-time highs of that 560. So you got to be very careful, At this point, you want to see, is price going to stay above that 560 level, right? So at this point, I would kind of just, this is not one I really love at the moment, but, I'd kind of say, okay, 560 though is that all-time highs. Then I'd come back over here, these previous peak levels, kind of goes right back out over here. So I'll just kind of go right over here. Always look left, right? And let your drawings extend out to the future. Kind of some of these areas right here. So to give you an example, I'm just mapping out, this is a monthly chart because it's breaking monthly highs, right? So this is where I would go back into the 5-minute chart, and you'll see kind of some, kind of zones right in here. But at the moment, it's just kind of not really loving it. So that's keeping an eye on it. Obviously, it needs to break 560 and hold. Next up, we'll look over here at SRRA. Another one kind of doing the same thing right here. It's got some breaking news right over in here. Map out those highs right over here, kind of some lows right over in here. And let's go out to the other charts. Man, looks like it's doing something similar to the other one. Actually, let me clear these drawings over here. So this one, what I do like to see, not sure if there's reverse splits or anything like this in the past, but I like to see that there is previous areas that the stock could run, so that is encouraging. So I like to see, kind of map out these areas, these bases, these peak levels right over in here. So I haven't delved into any of these right now to see what's actually really going on. I'm just kind of showing you the support and resistance levels. But just kind of seeing right over in here, actually this is up to 40, it's up to $55. So if I go back over here and I zoom in, just strictly looking at the charts, that puts me right over there at that 55, which is right over in this area. So just from a technical standpoint, this room, this still has the ability to run if it were to run. I'm not a huge fan of ones like the previous one I just looked at where it's at all-time highs and there's no previous levels to go off of. Not a huge fan of those. So just from a strict, a technical perspective, I like how a stock could still continue to run. Again, I haven't looked at these this morning. I haven't gone in depth in any of them. I'm just going strictly from a technical perspective. Next up, we'll look at CTIC. And again, it's important to remember that there's good days and bad days. Not every day is going to be a great trading day. Some days give you better setups than others, and other times you just got to wait. You got to wait for a half hour, hour for the market to open and to move and to do something. So this one right over in here, it's got some news, a little bit better, so at least it's not like at all-time highs. So what's happening right here is I'm just mapping out, I'm looking left on the charts over here and kind of mapping out the past 5 days or so, see where price has been. So I'll kind of map out these levels right over in here. So again, I'm just kind of doing those peaks and valleys, not going too crazy at the moment. Kind of like this, right? So kind of mapping out those highs and lows. And then I'll do my trend line right over in here, kind of give me some angular support right down here, see if price will hold at open and continue up. So this has some room, decent, you know, I mean, it's at 470 right now. If it breaks, it has a pre-market high of 520. So there's a potential of 50 cents or so, or more. And then I would zoom out to the daily chart. Well, so that puts you, let's go out to the weekly and monthly. Weekly, monthly. Okay, so it still has some previous levels that it can go to, which I like to see. So I like, me personally, a little bit more of something like a CTIC that's not at all-time highs, that has some room to potentially go. So CTIC would be something I like a little bit better. I also have my Thinkorswim one up over here. So I'll have Thinkorswim up. Sometimes it catches ones that are not on trade ideas and vice versa. So again, just kind of looking at some of these right here, you'll see BCTX had a nice move up to that 1250. Now it's kind of down right around that 1070. So I like the fact that it's got some room to go up towards those pre-market highs. So again, I would just go back over here, kind of map out these levels right over in here. You'll see pre-market high, kind of these levels right over back over in here. So just mapping out highs and lows. Back over here, here. Here kind of gives you those areas of support and resistance. And then I would just do a trend line right over in here of, see, kind of doing right out over here, mapping out, hitting these lows over here, and then I can kind of go out right over in here. So I want to watch and see if price will continue up. So again, watch list, right? Trade your pattern, whatever your setup is, and you want to see momentum. You want to see these stocks go and move up. I like when there's room to go, right? So 1074 up to 1250, there's a potential of $2 more that it could go. Doesn't mean it's going to, but there's potential there. So I like it where it's not just all like right at, you know, completely at highs where it could just completely dump at the open. So I like how it has the ability to move. So again, we'll take a look at one or two more, but at open, then you would look and see if these are, you know, I would have a watch list down over here with those handful of stocks, and then I would actually have my screen up looking at multiple different charts and see if it's got the patterns or the setups that I like, and then if not, I would watch a scanner over here or on trade ideas to see if anything else is moving. But I would do the same thing. If something's moving or starting to rip it open, I would map out pre-market support and resistance levels. I'd look left to those past few days, and then I would zoom to those daily, weekly, and monthly charts.